Before you send a CV for a certain application, what is the main thing that your CV needs to answer? What are the questions that you need to ask yourself and look at your CV and see that your CV answers those questions? My name is Cynthia Wakio, the Communication and Events Manager at Corporate Staffing Services, and I'm joined by Mary to address this session. Thank you for joining me.
I'm happy to be here, Wakio.
Thank you.
Great.
So again, as per the topic of discussion today, when you look at your CV, what are the main questions that the CV needs to answer?
Very interesting topic, and of course, as a candidate, it is your role to ensure that your CV stands out, and not just standing out, but very visible to any potential employer. And that brings us to the topic of the day on then what are the questions that your CV needs to answer. The very first one, and it's the obvious one, and it's unfortunate that some candidates overlook it, is who are you as a candidate? The employer wants to know who you are, and most importantly, how you are a fit for that role that you are applying for. And this is well covered, or should be well captured in the career profile summary in your CV, which is basically a brief history of who you are, your professional background, the skills that you've acquired that you're able to bring on board to any potential employer, including some of the values that you attain here. And the second question that your CV needs to answer is in terms of what are the skills, what are your main skills that you have for this role. So the core skills and competence section is very important in your CV, and it is not just mentioning the skill, it's you outline the key skill that is relevant to that role, and also elaborate briefly under that skill, what is it specifically to that skill that you have been able to acquire in these years of experience that you have had. And so the third question that your CV needs to answer before you send out that application is in terms of your professional experience. Do you have a track record? How has your background prepared you for this position that you're applying for? And when it comes to the professional experience, or the work history, outline clearly on your CV the organization that you have worked with, mention the name of the organization, the position or rather the title that you held in that organization, the duration. When did you start working there, and are you currently still there, or at what point did you leave? So the duration is very important. And then under that, outline clearly the duties and responsibilities. This is where also candidates get it wrong. They mix the duties, they tweak it to look like it's an achievement. So outline, clearly state the JD, the duties and responsibilities as it is in your job description when you are in that position. Then over and above that, another question that is very key, the employer wants to know what are the accomplishments? Do you have any achievement? So accomplishment question is also very important. Get to understand that by the time you're sending out that CV, the achievement section is speaking out for you. What are some of the best practices that you've been able to acquire during the period that you have worked, over and above your normal duties and responsibilities? Is there anything that you've done beyond that you can speak of as an achievement? And then lastly, very important question that your CV needs to answer also when you're sending out that application is in terms of the languages that you speak, or even your hobbies or your interests. And when it comes to this, I summarize it as a passion. Is your CV bringing out that thing that you're very passionate about? So those are some of the key areas or the key questions that your CV needs to answer even before you send out that CV for that application. Yeah.
And I think one answering those questions provides a guide on what your CV should look like. And then now, before sending it for any job application. So now that brings me to what advice you'd give for people struggling with their CVs. They don't even, employers don't even get to look at them, or they don't get any jobs offers because of these CVs. What advice do you have for them?
Well, the key advice I have for someone struggling with their CVs, number one, is that there is so many resources available online. You simply need to Google search, find out what are some of how can I make my CV stand out so that I get an invite for that interview application for the job I'm applying for. So there's a lot of resources available online, and over and above that, get personalized help as well. You can think of it from the point of getting a professional advice on some of the do's and don'ts to include or not to include in my CV. How can I package myself for that position that I am eyeing? So look for resources available online and go beyond that and invest in terms of seeking personalized help from a professional CV writer point of view. Yeah.
All right. Thank you for those tips, Mary. I hope it helps a professional to be able to improve on their CVs and
Definitely,
get that
yeah.
next job opportunity.
Great, thank you.
All right. Thank you for watching this video. If you're familiar to what Mary has said, or you're asking yourself, what is that? How can I stand out? How can I ensure that my CV is seen by a potential employer? We have professional CV writing services. That's you can reach out to us and we'll be able to help you with that. All you need to do is click on the link below and our client service manager will reach out for the next step. Goodbye and see you next time.